Okay, welcome everybody. So glad you're here. And so this is we're going to talk about something that we hadn't intended to talk about, but I decided it could be helpful for you guys. And so I'm going to talk to you about your brain. And I want to start with that and then have us all share about, just how we're doing and how the challenge is going, or what do we call it? We don't call it a challenge, whatever, the group is going for you.
The focus group.
The focus group, and how the month is going and all that kind of thing. But I just want to start with something that I've had people tell me, I've found for me is really helpful, and I've had other people tell me that it's helpful for them. So I'm going to share it with you. And it has to do with why many of us emotionally eat. And I know that for me, when I emotionally eat, it's like my brain goes on some automatic pilot. I'm not thinking, I'm just doing what I want to do, or what I'm inclined to do. And I never really understood why. I also noticed that if my blood sugar got too low, I was tired, I just would really overeat, trying to get, to feel better, or if I'm upset or something like that. So I found it to be really helpful to understand what's going on with our brains and what we can do about it. So that's what we're going to talk about. So our brains have two parts to them. This back part is what they call the animal brain or the limbic brain. And this part, the prefrontal cortex, is the part that's uniquely human. This is our more rational, moral way of thinking. This is the animal brain back here. So if you think about this limbic brain or the primitive brain, it's the part, obviously, that's functioning in an animal, like a lion or a tiger. And this part of the brain, what it's looking for is to survive, to avoid pain, and to seek pleasure. That's it. And I'm going to explain it a little bit more in a second, but when we emotionally eat or actually do anything that tends to be addictive by nature, that to take us out of a certain feeling state, then that hooks into the limbic system. And if you think about this animal brain, you think about a lion or a tiger, when they're ripping apart an animal that they just killed, they're not feeling guilty. There is no moral part to this part of the brain. It's not logical and it's not rational, because those feelings don't exist in that part of the brain. They exist in this part of the brain. So this is what happens to us when the brain turns off and we just find ourselves engaging in behavior that we really didn't want to do. That I said I wasn't going to eat, a whole chocolate bar, or whatever it is. So what triggers us to emotionally eat? So remember, this part of the brain back here, the limbic part of the brain, all it knows is that it wants to survive, avoid pain, and seek pleasure. So when we have one of these feelings, and the acronym that they use to help us remember the feeling is BLAST: bored, lonely, angry, stressed, or tired. If we start really feeling one of those emotions, like if one of those emotions kind of starts to take us over, then the rational part of our brain may for a second say to us, I shouldn't be eating this, because it's not what I said I wanted. But what happens is you get this strong outpouring of emotion, of being super upset or super lonely or tired or whatever that is. And that strong outpouring of emotion causes this part of the brain to click into action. The survival part of the brain becomes active. And what it's trying to do is it's trying to protect you from that pain you're feeling, the emotional pain you're feeling, and help to bring some sort of sense of pleasure. And it's just a natural animal instinct. It's what happens to to any being that has this animal part of our brain. And so, and then let's see. And then the limbic part of the brain likes to eat any foods that kick off the pleasure center, because of course what it wants to feel is pleasure. So that's why we tend to go with the fatty or the sweet or the, high carb type foods, because that's what the animal brain, that addresses the what's going on with us. So does that, and one way that I've heard people who've had real big issues with binging, they have worked through what I just talked about, and it's been magical. And they kind of label this part of the brain it. And they'll say, like, to a spouse or friend that's with them, you know what, it wants me to eat the whole rest of that cake. Realizing it's not me, it's just this animal part of my brain. When I'm feeling this emotion, that's what it wants me to do. And what they've found is that it really helps to separate it from me, who I am, the rational human being that I am, that actually has goals. And so if we can get ourselves to recognize, separate ourselves from that animal brain by taking a breath, trying to become present before we start eating, overeating. So does that make sense to you guys? Yep.
Yeah, lots of sense.
So can we just recognize the two people that came on? And I don't know who it is. 425-681. Who's that?
Margaret, I just came on.
Yay!
Hey, Margaret. How are you?
Hi.
And who's 813?
That's me, Julianne.
I was just going to say, I think that's a Florida number. Oh my gosh. Yay. Hi, Julianne.
So fun.
Hi.
Yay. I'm so glad you're on. Thank you, Sue, for...
I tried to do the Zoom launch, but guess I didn't figure that out right.
Okay.
So I decided to call.
And you can listen to, I did a recording of this, and you can listen to the first part of the call if you want to understand what it was that I was talking about. But I was talking about what causes us to emotionally eat and what we can do about it. So
can you repeat the blast? Because you went into detail, but I think that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah. So what happens when we descend through the funnel of emotional eating? This is how I see it for myself. It's like, and my brain turns off. What the emotions that tend to throw us into that state where we just stop making rational decisions are, and she said BLAST because it's an acronym that's used to help us remember what emotions it is that throw us into that, sort of autopilot of emotional eating. But the emotions are when we're bored, when we're lonely, when we're angry, when we're stressed, or when we're tired. And if we really get a flood of one of those emotions, and God forbid more than one of those emotions at once, it's awfully hard to engage this rational part of our brain. The animal part of our brain kind of takes over, which is why we find ourselves, I hear people say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, I just told you last week that I was going to stay, with the program, and I lost it. And the reason that happens is not because we're bad people, although we tend to really beat ourselves up about that kind of stuff. It's because we're animals. And until we figure out how to deal with this animal brain that we all have, that's a really natural behavior, that emotional eating.
And that's where the stop, challenge, choose can come in.
Absolutely.
If you can, so the bored part to me, or procrastination, if I should be doing something that I really don't want to do, all of a sudden I think I'm hungry. I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
So it's just that I don't know. And just the awareness of that you can separate the two, and then use the stop, challenge, choose. Am I, can I do something else to soothe me versus eating, like go for a walk? Or there was a gal on Saturday that said she loves to pick flowers. So when you're bored, and Pam, you were just talking about all the gardening you like to do.
Right.
Just to, separate and do something fun,
Mm-hmm.
or that soothes you in a different way than eating. So, sorry.
I love that you brought in stop, challenge, choose at this point. So just to walk through an example, does anyone have an example of when they find themselves falling into that reactive animal brain?
When I'm tired.
Okay.
So what does that look like? Can you paint a picture for us so we can...
Well, I just kind of found it this week, because I was kind of watching to see what made me feel like eating. And you were right when you said you get tired and then you feel like you want food to help you get up there.
Yep.
And kind of stay awake. And I don't want to go to bed because it's too early. And I'm kind of in between that feeling. And I'm not really tired because I've had 8 hours of sleep. So it's not a matter of really being run down. It's just I feel tired inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And then, so that's the, you've set the stage, and then what happens? Then what happens?
Well, then I have to get something to eat, and it's usually like a candy bar or something that, lifts me quickly, or I eat too much food to where I feel full and satisfied,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't feel as weak and tired. Yeah.
And so Sue, maybe, or Bonnie, you yourself could talk about how could you apply stop in that situation?
Well, I applied that. That's how I got to the point where I realized I was tired, because I said, stop, what's wrong with you? What are you feeling? Because I wasn't bored and I wasn't particularly stressed. I felt okay, but I just felt so tired inside, and I wasn't tired physically. I don't know, just kind of tired inside. And so I said, what can I do to make this better? And of course, all I want to do is eat. It's like my brain takes over. It's like, I got to eat something to make me feel better. That's it. That's the answer to the question.
It wanted you to eat. I know how that is.
So I did, and then I felt fine, and then I could get back on what I was doing. But I just, I got so tired I could barely walk up the stairs, and it's like I need to eat something.
So what would happen if, so maybe Sue, you could talk about an example where you do something other than eat.
So it depends upon if you are physically tired, or when you're talking about being tired inside, a lot of times that's emotional versus if you're not physically tired.
Yeah, it is emotional. I mean, I know I'm emotionally drained, I think.
Yeah.
And
then it's the soothing things, it's usually replacing it, because we're conditioned. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, right? And that's what we've done for years and years. So now that we're more aware and we can make choices to find, we talked about this a little bit on Saturday, making a list of things that soothe you that could replace that piece. So maybe it's a cup of tea. One person talked about going to pick flowers, doing things that will emotionally give you pleasure, that's not adding calories, unless you physically need the food. But that's where that, if you're doing the 5-in-1, if you've had your 5 and you had your lean and green, and you haven't had aren't up many hours in a day, an extremely long day, is there something else that you could do that would work for you? And there's lots of ideas, but for you to take some time to just write down some things that make you laugh, or you know, a hot bath, journaling, you know, things that make sense to you that would, versus us telling you what to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just nice to know that I'm not the only one that feels this way.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
heavens
you are.
no.
What was that?
Absolutely. Heavens no.
But you feel, I mean, I totally understand why you say that, because it feels like it when you're just, I mean, this just happened to me last night. I went to an event. I was really tired. I got home at like 9:15. I'd gotten up early in the morning, and I ate dinner. I'd had enough to eat. And as I was doing the dishes, I just kept eating. I was eating just little bits of this and this and that and little bits of that. It had nothing to do with physical hunger. It was unrelated to it. And I got in bed and I was just full. And I thought, yeah, it decided that it wanted to eat some more and, you know, keep me going. I didn't need it to keep me going to get the dishes done, but it was like emotionally to keep me going. That's what I did. I just kept eating stuff and I kept eating stuff, and I was so full, you know? And so one way that I could have, I mean, the thing is, the animal brain was in charge. I was really tired. And, so it just took over, and I didn't separate myself from it. I just did it. I just obeyed its command to just keep eating. And so the stop, challenge, choose, if I could find myself, be aware enough to stop. So that's what, you know, I had said breathe, and Sue brought up stop, challenge, choose. So if I could, okay, like tonight if it happens, I might, because we're talking about this, have the sense or the awareness, say stop. Okay, is this what you want to do? Do you want to do this again tonight where you go to bed and you're too full? Make a choice, and then I, you know, challenge myself. Is this what you want to do? And then I could make a choice. Even that process, even if I decided, yes, I want to do it again, there is still a huge benefit to, you know, that we talked in the focus group about the cable of habit. So just the habit of stopping, challenging myself and choosing, even if I decide to do the same thing, is hugely beneficial.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
We're glad you're here. It's all right. We recorded this call so you can hear, you can listen to the first part. I kind of talked about some stuff that might be interesting to you, but we're glad you're here.
Thanks.
Okay. So what do you think? What do we want to talk about at this point?
Well, on the same subject, I noticed today when I was very active and doing something that I enjoyed, food never even entered my mind. And thinking back on that, it's when I'm bored or can't make a decision on what it is I want to be doing, that's when the food creeps in.
Yep. That's when your animal brain takes over and your rational brain is just not engaged.
Not there.
Yeah.
And today you were just experiencing so much pleasure. There wasn't any need for your animal brain to jump in and try to protect you from something. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I
wish it had protected me from spending so much money on all of the plants I bought. But
but it brings you pleasure, and therefore that's a good thing.
You probably
That's what I
will not
thought.
regret that. Elizabeth, what were you going to say?
Well, I have been doing so good since starting this program. I took off 13 pounds since we started.
Oh my gosh!
But this weekend was the A and the S and the T hit me hard. I'm from Skagit County and the youngest victim in the shooting.
oh, honey.
So
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Aw.
Oh my gosh. Did you all know about the shooting?
No.
Yeah.
There was a shooting at Burlington Mall.
Yeah. I think that's what she's
There are
talking
people
about.
killed.
Yeah.
And what?
There are people killed. 5 people killed.
Oh my goodness.
And apparently she knows one of them.
Oh no.
Mm.
No. So sorry. But yeah.
So she was said the A, the S, and the T, meaning that she was feeling
Ang-
angry, stressed, and tired.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Bless her for sharing that with us. I hope she
Yeah.
comes back.
Yeah.
She came back. Yay.
So it was
Thank
not
you.
too great, but then I drank a whole bottle of wine and I just didn't care. I needed it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what you should do.
So I'm back and okay today, well, except for that moment.
That's okay.
But
That's a healthy moment.
It was somebody you know?
yeah, the girl, the 16-year-old, was friends with my family and friends up there. So we did vigils, had a bunch of teenagers around. It was just really, really hard, you know. And
Very
I don't know anything
emotional.
else I could have done differently, and I don't even feel guilty about it. I wanted that wine and I did it, and I'm good today. So
Oh,
And keep going. You are just
Oh.
fine.
and so bless you for having some compassion for yourself going through that emotional hell, and instead of, because we do the best we can when we're in that much pain.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm so glad that you're not beating yourself up.
Yeah. And you're here. So
yeah, I
congratulations.
wasn't gonna, but I figured, what the hell? I look horrible. I might as well be here.
So,
It's not about how you look. It's just
so
about
glad that you came.
being engaged. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
what you're doing for yourself, because you got back on the path that's benefiting you so much. You didn't stay in the throes of, throw caution to the wind, for a month or two, because of the pain you were experiencing. But instead you're back taking care of yourself in a way that's apparently serving you really well. I mean, you lost a lot of weight, and
I know that part feels really good.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah.
thanks so
Yeah.
much for sharing that with us, Elizabeth. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
Me too.
So does somebody else, and in the midst of that awful piece, you shared a win and that you're feeling really good. Does anyone else want to share a win? Something that they've learned or?
Well, this is Julianne, and I would be happy to share a small win.
It's okay.
I had some emotional upheaval the other day, and the first thing I wanted to do actually wasn't to eat, surprisingly, but rather than just sit and stew about it and make the situation even worse, because I'm really good at that, I decided I just needed to get out. I just needed to get away and remove myself from the situation. And so because I wanted to be alone anyway, which sort of helped the whole situation, I decided to go to a local park, and I just spent a half an hour walking. And expending that energy kind of helped me just kind of fill out, I guess. And it allowed me to get a clearer head. I can think about, just because I was expending that energy and getting rid of that negative energy, but also just breathing in the air and getting some oxygen to my brain. I just felt like that allowed me to think clearer and not react to a situation that I could have been sorry for, because I may have said or done something that I would have regretted. But being able to redirect that anger and stress in a way that was physical allowed me to not only get on top of this, but gain something as well in the fact. So it was kind of a win to overcome the emotion and to give myself some exercise.
So the only disagreement I have is that that's a small win. That seems like that is such a, oh my gosh, think in life if we did that if we reacted to anger and stress that way more often. You know? Really?
Yeah, it's one of my big triggers is emotional issues, and it kind of ties in. The emotional is the whole blast thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, if I'm bored, it's usually because I'm lonely, and then I get angry because, you know, I'm alone. That stresses me out, and it just zaps all my energy. And so it kind of, with the whole BLAST acronym, kind of fits emotional roller coaster for myself. I don't know how it is for anybody else.
Well, as we were saying before you got on the call, that's what it is. It's the way our brains work when we experience those kind of emotions. And I think that is a perfect example of what Sue brought up with stop, challenge, and choose. You know, you stopped and you challenged yourself and chose to take a walk, and way to go.
And there's something about moving your body that helps. I don't know.
Oh,
It just helps. It helps, as you described it, with the emotional energy and taking in good stuff. You know, the outside and the park and the moving, and yay, that's an awesome
great.
thing.
I can also highly recommend, because it's worked for me before, as I find that music, and especially up-tempo music, really helps me get out of a funk, and it helps me move. And I find even if it's just walking through the house, I'm kind of just off and along. And I think, although it's not big movement, it's more energized movement. It's like putting that little extra bounce into the squat or into your steps if you're doing stepping or anything like that. So I find that music, and I don't know if that works for everyone else or anyone else, but it really does help to move me from one emotional state to another.
Yeah. That's so cool. One of the magics of music for a lot of people. Thank you, Julianne. Who else?
I just finished chapter 10 today, which is the Stop, Challenge, Choose chapter.
Ah, nice.
I've often used those words and then still eating the candy bar.
Yeah.
But since I've been in the group, I can sense forward motion. So I call that a win. And the things that I've done, I know that I've increased my water intake. I've been in a pool most days. And the walking comes and goes because that's related to my granddaughter, and that's not really walking. It's kind of, looking at bugs and spider webs while you're out on the sidewalk. So the pool really is good for my heart rate. And the choices at the grocery store when I'm bringing home to the family is changing slowly.
Wow.
Wow is right.
But it seems really slow, but it is moving, and that's important to me.
And that's the key. What direction are you moving?
Well, to health.
Right. Are you moving to
better
health, or are you
choices.
moving backwards?
Moving to better choices.
You are.
Yeah.
Jeff, I think that's really big stuff. That's what long-term change is made of. Exactly what you just described. That's so cool.
Yeah, the first time I went through, it just me and Connie, and when she was at work, I could just focus on myself, and now I'm in a 3-generational house, of which I'm in charge of cooking and grandbaby. So there's a lot of emotional stress there that sometimes makes me want to just eat chocolate or drink or whatever. So.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. That's so cool. And you're affecting 3 generations now. These changes you're making.
Wish I wasn't the oldest one.
Yeah, well, buddy, we might as well get used to it.
But it's a goal. I mean, being the oldest one, the oldest of the generations, it's a goal that I can be healthy and happy enough to affect their lives. And
Totally. Yeah.
so that's
Very
part of- goals are hard for me, so that's important.
really cool. Who else? Anyone else that has a win that they'd like to share? Something that was positive this week? Or a challenge? Something that you would like some support on?
I could use some support on trying to get some strategies for being more active. I tend to put off being active because I feel guilty that I haven't taken care of my household chores or read my chapter or connected with my kids or done my finances or whatever it is that's part of my daily life, that's part of everyone's daily life. And I tend to put those things first. And I need to come up with some kind of strategy that's going to be to put being active first. And
Nice.
I could take any suggestions that anyone might have.
Great question. What do you guys think? What suggestions do you have for Julianne?
I'm right there with you. It's a big problem, putting myself first.
I
Maybe
struggle.
it's a mom thing.
What were you saying, Jeff?
I said I struggle with that too.
Okay.
I'm so involved in helping and wanting other people. I'm a people pleaser, so I struggle with thinking it's okay to love myself.
Mm-hmm.
I schedule appointments in for myself. You know, like a dentist appointment, only it's an exercise appointment or it's something special for me. But if I want to get out and exercise, I just have to put it on the calendar and schedule it as an appointment with me.
I love that idea.
I like that.
I did actually, when I was looking online, because part of another issue is that I feel I need to have some outside involvement with other people. And I looked online at meetups. Is that something anyone else does?
Yep.
Meetup? There's
It's awesome.
There's a group in my area that does a meetup at a local community center for Zumba, and I have never done Zumba. I'm not sure that that's going to work for me. I somehow have this impression that it's very energetic, and I'm not sure my knee will handle it, but I wrote down the date, and Thursday evening, I have the time, I'm going to go and at least see what it's about, and if I'm pretty sure they'll be okay if I try to adapt. I don't think it's a hardcore thing, and again, never been, know anything about it.
Oh, I love that. I love it so much that you, sorry, Jeff.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just thought of another win that wasn't even related hardly. And it's difficult for me to get my wife Connie involved with the Take Shape for Life stuff because she's a nurse with 12-hour shifts and etc. So she struggles with the whole idea, and she appreciates what happened to me last year. But she did say just this week, she said through our conversation, she's interested in reinvestigating Curves, the exercise store. She was part of that in North Bend, and now she's interested in doing it again.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's a support actually when we're both doing something to help
bet.
ourselves.
Yeah, and Julianne, the thing about Zumba is I've done Zumba, and I swear I am the most uncoordinated dancer in the world. And so I look like there's a Facebook thing of Lucy, like I Love Lucy trying to do Zumba, and that's what I look like. Like you're just constantly out of step with what everyone's doing.
Me too.
And it doesn't matter. It's totally an individual thing. They don't care what you do. You protect your knee. You just do the movements that you feel. And what I love so much about it is that it's satisfying two things for you. It's allowing you to expand your social network while it's getting you some movement. And
music.
I'm betting, yeah, and to music. And I'm betting that you're going to find other meetups. They're going to have some more things that will combine those things for you. That is just brilliant. That's a better idea than I would have thought of. I was trying to think of ideas for you, and that's a great one. So yay, I'm so excited you're going to do that.
Connie used to be involved in Zumba, but that's what made me think of that situation.
Yes.
Well, let's hope that I stick to it. I can't think of any reason why I won't, but I'm constantly bombarded on a daily basis, as I'm sure all of you are, with life changes and things that come up unexpectedly. But I'm going to stay positive and make it a plan, and we'll see how it goes.
Congratulations, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And it's lots of fun. Just it's all about movement and music and people. So enjoy. Great. Yeah.
So great. Yeah, I think Meetup is just such a great place for you to explore. And you say, I hope I keep up with it. And hopefully you'll find some things that are fun for you, whether it be Zumba or another type of Meetup kind of thing where there's movement, walking with friends, new friends or whatever. And that'll make it easier to stick with it if it's fun.
I did actually see another option on Meetup, and we have trails in Florida that are associated with different counties or organizations, and one of the meetups locally, fairly local, is to help maintain the trails.
Oh.
And that gets me outside, which I love to be outside. That's my Zen place, is outdoors.
Good.
And I would be doing community work and hopefully meeting like-minded people. To have that idea in mind.
Yay!
But, yeah, I'm just trying to
really thought this through. That's great.
It's so great.
Well, it hasn't happened yet because my work schedule is retail, and it's not very conducive to other people's schedule. But I'm going to see if I can maybe make that happen.
Yeah.
I think it would be something to enjoy.
Some meetups will work with your work schedule. I mean, they're probably a lot of them.
Keep looking.
Yeah.
Margaret, because she's on the phone, just wanted to see if we haven't forgotten about you, so.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I've been to Zumba too, and it is fun. It's really high energy. The music is fun, and you can move to your own pace. You don't have to follow along. But it's always fun. And the type of people that go to Zumba are usually pretty friendly. So usually you can follow up and have a little social interaction as well. So, yeah, there's also something called NIA, N-I-A. It's similar to Zumba, but lower impact. It's more fluid, smoother movements. There's not as much jumping.
I know.
So if you have knee problems, NIA would probably be better because it's slower and it's just much more gentle on the body.
And is that also a group activity?
Yeah, there's meetup groups. Yeah, there's meetups. If you put into meetup NIA, NIA, you will find groups. Yeah.
Okay. That's a thought. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sure.
Anything else, Margaret, while we're on you before we finish up here?
No, I can't. No, I'm pretty much, I do walking every day a little bit. I've got, like everybody else, a super busy schedule, but I tend to walk every day after work. That seems to help. And I do journaling every night, but I ask myself 3 questions. What went well today? What didn't? And what do I want to do differently tomorrow? And it covers eating, but also other things as well, just so I kind of stay focused on how am I going to move forward rather than feel like, okay, am I kind of going over and over the negative stuff of the day? Instead, I say, what worked, what didn't, and what will I do different tomorrow?
Wow.
Those are some great questions. I like those. I'm jotting those down as you speak.
That is such a great one.
I keep it in my journal. every day at nighttime. Some people do it in the morning, but I like to do it at night because it helps me to get to sleep then, because I'm kind of letting go of the day.
Yeah.
So it's my
So
last
great.
thing I do each day.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Sure.
I should do that tonight instead of eating. Well, feeling really tired. Maybe I'll try
Or
that.
I'll sit with some hot tea,
Yeah.
some decaffeinated hot tea, and do the journaling because that feels kind of soothing
Yeah,
to have the hot
yeah.
tea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah,
I'll try it. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much. This was really fun hanging out with you.
Thank you.
I loved it. We have one more next week, so we'll see you then.
Okay.
Okay.
Elizabeth, you take care of yourself.
Okay.
Thank you, Pam.
Yeah.
You bet.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.